Hello and welcome to another exam paper walkthrough. I'm going in a slightly different direction in that I'm looking today at the GCSE Maths June 24 paper 2F. And this is a forecasted paper, a preparation paper, and these are the good chance questions or good chance topics taken from First Class Maths key topic revision list. So I put this paper together on the back of that. In the description to this video, you will find a link to a Google Drive that will take you to a copy of this paper. I would strongly recommend you download and have a go at that paper before watching this video, just to get the most out of it. I have some music on in the background as well, and I hope you find this useful. If you do, please do subscribe if you like. So this is a copy of the paper. There's a QR code as well. If you've not got a copy of the paper, that'll take you to the video actually. So like I said, this is a copy of First Class Maths key topic list. So they've done 5-star, 4-star, 3-star. I split the 5-star and the 4-star into a highly likely paper. That's not this paper or this video. I would recommend you do watch that one as well. This is based around the good chance of the 3-star questions. So this paper is covering all of these questions. There's no guarantee that these topics will come up. It's just a forecast based on the analysis of past exam questions and the questions that appeared on paper 1. There are a few questions that may overlap. This is due to an overlap in the skills that they test. From this, what I did was I used Edexcel's Foundation Enhanced Skills Mapping Grid, which covered every single question that they've asked over the specification of this, and I selected a number of questions that covered those good chance topics. I then arranged them in mean percentage, so the mean percentage of all the students that sat it, and I arranged them in order of sort of the highest percentage first and the lowest percentage lower, so the paper should build in difficulty quite nicely. This doesn't map exactly to question. Having gone through it, there's one question that appeared twice in the list, so it's actually moved earlier in the paper. But in the description to the video, you'll find the chapter index that actually outlines which topic each question relates to. Right, let's get started. So question 1, write the number 8,375 correct to the nearest 1,000. Well, the 1,000 digit is the 8, so it's either close to 8,000 or 9,000, and that one is closer to 8,000. Right, question 2. Sonia wants to book a holiday. The holiday will cost £1,428. Sonia will pay a deposit of £150. She will then pay the rest of the cost in 6 equal monthly payments. How much is each monthly payment? Right, I'm going to write the sum before I do the calculation. So I'm going to do 1,428 minus the deposit of 150, and then I want to divide that answer by 6. And that'll give me the monthly payments. There's no real need to do those sums separately. Your calculator can handle doing the whole of that by itself. Let's see if I can bring my calculator up. Right, so I'm typing that in as a fraction. My numerator 1,428, just double checking my figures as I type, minus 150, the deposit, and then I want to share the rest of that by 6, which gives me £213. Question 3 then. Nazima uses the graph to find out how much money is paid for the number of hours she has worked. How much money does Nazim get paid for each hour that she works? So in effect, what we really want to do is read off this value here, which doesn't look particularly, which is just in between those. So I think it's £12.50 per hour. No, I don't. Halfway between 20 and 10, it would be 15. So she gets paid £15 per hour. Last week, she worked for 36 hours. How much did she get paid? Well, assuming that this 15 is right, all we need to do is 15 times by 36. So we got £540. Question 4. There are 3 identical cards in bag A and 2 cards in bag B. Sorry, there are 3 cards in bag A and 2 cards in bag B. There's a letter on each card. Jake takes a card from bag A, then a card from bag B, list all the possible outcomes. So we're looking at listing here. So we've got, I always follow a systematic way of doing this. So I would have E and J. So I'm going to start with all my cards that can begin with E or E and K. Then I'm going to look at F. So it will be F and J or F and K. And then finally my G card, G and J, and G and K. So I've got 6 possible outcomes there. Okay, question 5. The scatter graph shows information about the marks a group of students got in science test and in a maths test. Jamie got 34 marks in the science test. Use the scatter graph to estimate Jamie's marks for the maths test. So I want to insert a line of best fit here. It doesn't say I have to, but I think every teacher I know would encourage you to put a line of best fit on this graph. And a line of best fit is just a line that best represents the data. It doesn't need to go through any specific points, doesn't need to go through 0, 0, but we need a line that best represents the data. And I'm going to go for I mean, there's always a range of error on this, but I'm going to go for that roughly. Jamie got 34 marks in the science test, so this is the science test on the bottom axis. So 34, we're looking at going up. And then when we hit that, we're going across. So I'm looking at 39 marks in the maths test. Use the graph to estimate, so I'm going 39. Right, let me just bring up the mark scheme and see what the range is allowed on that. So they're saying anything between 35 and 42. Question 6. Work out the value of t when v is 2. So t is equal to 4 times v, so 4 times 2 plus 3. And then we can use a calculator, but no real need here. 8 plus 3 would give us 11. Well, okay, so the second part is asking us to rearrange to make v the subject. So I want to get v by itself. So I'm going to start by minusing 3 from both sides. So t minus 3 is equal to 4v. Divide both sides by 4 to get rid of that multiplier. So we've got t minus 3 divided by 4 is equal to v. So v is equal to t minus 3 all over 4. Question 7. Here's a list of numbers. Bridget says, to work out the median, you find the middle number. So the median of these numbers is 17. Bridget's answer is not correct. What is wrong with Bridget's methods? The numbers need to be in order before you take the middle one. So numbers need to be in size order before taking middle value. And part B, work out the range of numbers in this list. So we're looking for the largest number, I believe that's the largest, and we're looking for the smallest number, which I believe is that. So we're looking at 22 minus 12, which would be 10. Work out the mean from the list. So we're going to add them all together. Total divided by number. So the total is going to be 12 plus 15 plus 14 plus 17 plus 22 plus 19 plus 13. So our total is going to be 112. So it's 112 divided by the number of numbers, which, say how many we've got? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So divided by 7. So divided by 7 equals 16. Okay, question 8. Here's a list of numbers from the list. Write down a square number. So I'm hoping that formatting's a bit messed up. So here's a list of numbers. Write down from the list a square number. So the square number is going to be 25. From the numbers in the list, write down a number that is both a multiple of 4 and a multiple of 6. So for that, we're looking at 24. I'm just double checking that there aren't a second version. No, that's fine. Write down all the prime numbers from the list. So I find it useful to kind of cross out all my even numbers, and that's 2's there. Then cross out all my multiples of 3. And then look for others. We've got multiples of 5 there. So we've just got 23 and 29. Okay, question 9. On a map, a map has a scale of 1 centimetre to 14 kilometres. On the map, the distance between Manchester and London is 18.8 centimetres. What is the real distance in kilometres? So we've got map to real life. We've got a ratio of 1 to 14. And then in real life, so I'll keep my units in. So we've got 18.8 centimeters on the map. So we times in by 18.8. So 14 times by 18.8 gives us 263.2. So 263.2 kilometers. Question 10. The graph shows information about the number of houses sold by an estate agent in each of 6 months last year. How many houses were sold by the estate agent in February? So February is this here, which represents, zoom in a little bit, does represent slap bang in the middle between those two steps. So I'm going to go 23. For the estate agent, write down the ratio of the number of houses sold in January to the number of houses sold in June. So January there were 10 were sold, and in June there were 56 sold. Right, it doesn't ask for it in its simplest form, so I'm just going to keep it simple, and I'm sure that 5 to 23 would be absolutely fine. Yep. I might have misspoken there. 5 to 28, I think would have been fine. Question 11. 200 students chose one language to study. Each student chose one language from French, Spanish or German. 200 of the 200 students, 90 are boys and the rest of the students are girls. 70 chose Spanish. 60 of the 140 students who chose French are boys. 18 girls chose German. Work out how many boys chose Spanish. So I would go for a two-way table for this. I really like two-way tables. I find them a real useful way of doing it. So we've got two categories. We've got male and female. And then we've got three subjects. So we've got French, Spanish or German. And then we've got a totals column on each. So that's about the time I would spend drawing a grid. I wouldn't get my ruler out necessarily for this. Right, because this is just to help me. So 200 students chose one language. There we go. Of the 290 are boys. So I'm just going to enter the information from the table given, from the question. 90 are boys and the rest of the students are girls. So I'm just going to put 90 there. I know I can work out girls, but I'm just taking the information from the question. 70 chose Spanish. So 70 chose Spanish. 60 of the 104 students who chose French are boys. So the French total is 104 and the total for boys is 60. 18 girls chose German, so female and 18 there. Right, That's my first layer of entering data into my two-way table. I've just entered data from the question. My second layer is the ones that I can just use this information for. And at the same time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the one that I'm trying to work out. Girls chose German. Girls chose German. Female. Sorry, work out the number of boys who chose Spanish. So this is the one that I'm actually trying to work out. Right, back to my next layer. So I'm going to say that the number of, we'll go for this one first of all, we've got to have 110 here because 200 minus 90 is 110. We can say that this one would be 44 because 104 minus 60 is 44. We can say that so far we've got 174, so we've got to have 26 here. That's my next level. My third level, I'll put in a different color again. So we'll go purple. My next level is using this information, filling in the other values. This value here is going to have to be 8. Because 26 minus 18 is 8. And from that, we can do our actual answer that we're after. So this is 68 so far. So 90 minus 68 is going to be 22. I don't need to do that final one, but it may well be worth doing it in your exam. So for example, what I mean by may be worth doing it, you haven't got somebody going through the answers now. It's a 3-mark question, so the confidence you get by just double checking that you've got those 3 marks is quite useful. So we can do this 2 ways. We can either do 70 minus 20, 2, which would give us 48, or we can just say 44 plus 18 is going to be 62, and then 120 minus 62 typed is 48. So we've done it 2 ways. So we know that we've got our 2-way table correct, which gives us a good indication that we've got full marks for that question, which can be useful. Right, not a big fan of the orange. We'll switch back to purple. Right, question 12, simplify. So n to the power 3 times n to the power 5, we add the powers. So that's just going to become n to the 8. For this one, we simplify in stages, so I'll do my c's first of all. C to the 3 divided by c to the 2, we subtract the powers, so let's just c. D to the 4, take away d to the 1, or d is just going to be d to the 3. And solve this inequality, times both sides by 2 would give us 5x has to be greater than 14. So divide both sides by 5, x has to be greater than 2 and 4/5. So I would give that as my answer. So x has to be greater than 2 and 4/5. If you've gone 0.8, that's absolutely fine. There's no issue with that. It's just a different way of representing the same number. You could have got 14 over 5 would also be fine. Question 13, here's a list of 8 numbers. Kim picks at random one of these numbers. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that Kim picks a number 7. So we have got 0 sevens, so 0. Part B, on the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that Kim picks a number greater than 5. Greater than 5, so 5 can't be included. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 8 numbers. So that's even chances or a half. Find the probability that Kim picks an even number. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 even numbers. So it's going to be 5 out of the number of numbers, 8. So 5 out of 8. Question 14. On the number line, show the inequality x is less than 4. So we do a circle at 4. We show an arrow going in the opposite direction to represent less than, and we do not shade it in. If it was equal to, it could be shaded in, but it's not, so we can't. Okay, write down all the possible values of y. So y can't be 3, it has to be bigger than 3. So it can be 4, and it can be 7 because it can be equal to. So 4, 5, 6, and 7. solve. So I treat these just like a normal equation. So I treat this a bit like an equal sign. We keep it balanced. That will keep the inequality balanced. So minus x from both sides. That will give me 2x plus 5 has to be greater than or equal to 17. I would minus 7 from both sides, minus 5 from both sides. So 2x has to be greater than or equal to 12. Then divide both sides by 2. X has to be greater than or equal to 6. Question 15. The diagram shows a triangle ABC. A, C, D and B, C, E are straight lines. Work out the size of the angle marked with the X, giving a reason for each stage of your working. Okay, so I'm going to work out this angle first of all. I'll call it Y for now, but my proper notation should be calling it ACB. So ACB is equal to 180 minus the two known angles added together. 25 plus 116. And again, there's no need to actually do that. We don't get a mark for working that out in our heads. So just use your calculator, making sure we've typed everything in correctly. So 39 degrees. And the reason for that is angles in a triangle equal 180. So I always put my reasons next to my working. Angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. And then x is going to be equal to that. So x is going to be equal to 39, and my reason for that is it's vertically opposite. So if we've got space there for the answer, 39. Question 16. A farmer has a field in the shape of a semicircle of diameter 50 meters. The farmer asks Jim to build a fence around the edge of the field. Jim tells him how much this will cost. The total cost will equal 39.86 per meter of fencing plus 180 for each day's work. Jim takes 3 days to build the fence. Work out the total cost. Right, so we're going to work out the perimeter of the shape first of all. So the perimeter of the shape is half of a circle, so that would be pi, half the circumference of a circle, so that would be pi times by the diameter divided by 2, plus this bottom edge here, so plus 50. That's often forgotten about when working at the perimeter of a semicircle. So that's going to be 25 pi plus 50. Right, and that'll tell us our total length of in meters. So the total cost is going to be equal to, so what I'm going to do is, I'll come back to that in a second. It's going to be 29.86 times by my last answer, and then plus 180 times by 3. Right, now I'll go to my calculator and type 25 pi plus 50. Will give us that value, so I'll write that down, 128.539 ... just to show I haven't rounded. Then I'm going to times my last answer by 29.86, and then I need to add on 180 times by 3 for the number of days it takes. So we're looking at 4,378.1989 ... So as a cost, I'm going to say that is, I round it to pence, so I'm going to say it's 4,378.20. Question 17. Cups are sold in packs and in boxes. There are 12 cups in each pack. There are 18 cups in each box. Alison buys P packs of cups and B boxes of boxes of cups. Write down an expression in terms of P and B for the total number of cups. So it's going to be 12P plus 18B. Question 18, write down the inequalities shown. So we've got x, if we're calling it x, that's what it tells us in the question. X is greater than, but can't be equal to because it's not shaded in, greater than minus 1. Below, sketch the, on the number line, show the inequality. So at minus 3, I want a circle, and at 4, I want a circle, and I want a line joining them up. And then this one has to be shaded in because it can be equal to. So I view the line like a liquid that can go into the bubble if it can be equal to the bubble. Write down 84 as a product of its prime factors. So actually on a calculator, this is a neat hack. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you're not confident with it or remember it well. If I put 84 into my calculator's answer, what I can then do is press Shift and then Fact, and it will automatically give it as prime factors. So that's going to be 2 squared times by 3 times by 7. If you can't remember that, which is perfectly understandable, you can treat it as prime factorization. So we can go 84 is going to be 2 times by 42, which is going to be 2 times by 21, which is going to be 3 times by 7. So that's my prime factors. Find the lowest common multiple. So again, I tend to do a bit of a cheat for this. I would do on my calculator 60 over 84 cancels down to being 5 to 7. And what it's done there is cancel down by the highest common factor. So the lowest common multiple is either that times that, or that times that, or 84 times by 5. Both give you the same value, so 60 times by 7 equals 420, and also 84 times by 4 will also equal, there we go, I should have times it by 5. Laughing at myself, 420. That's how I would do it on a calculator paper. Alternatively, we've already done 84 here. If we write 60 as its prime factors in a similar way that we've just done, breaking that one down, it's 2 times 30, which is 2 times 15, which is 3 times 5. The lowest common multiple is then going to be all of the common factors, the union of them all. So it would actually be, so the lowest common multiple would be 2 squared times by 3 times by 5 times by 7. So that, just showing you, that gives you the same answer. Times by 3 times by 5 times by 7 gives 420 as well. But on a calculator paper, I tend to use that as my method. Uh, 20. The diagram shows two shapes that are drawn on a centimeter grid. Find the area of shape P. So in effect, we've kind of got two triangles here. We can treat it as the area of a kite actually, but we won't. The area of this one is, sorry, I'm ahead of myself. We're only asked to find the area of shape P. So the area of shape P is going to be equal to half of the base times height. So the base is this length here, so the base is 4, and the height is 2, 4, 6. So that's going to be 4 times 3, which would give us 12 centimeters squared. If the unit's not there, that could be a mark for the unit. Write down the mathematical name of shape of quadrilateral Q, so that's going to be a kite. 21. Here are there are three different types of potato in a box. The table gives the number of each type of potato. So there we go. Salim draws a pie chart for this information in the table. Okay. Write down two things that are wrong or misleading with the pie chart. Firstly, sections are not labelled. Secondly, 90 plus 105, I kind of know this, plus 105, 300. So the pie chart can't have a 90-degree angle in it. The 90 doesn't represent 90 degrees. 90 potatoes Can't even spell potatoes. P-O-T-A-T-O. Is not 90 degrees. Those are the two ones that strike me. We've got two even sections here. I'm not going to bother measuring them, but that can't be a 90-degree angle. Question 22, expand and simplify. So we're looking to expand this. That would give us x squared. That would give us minus 9x. This would give us 5x. And this would give us minus 45. If you use a different method to that, that's absolutely fine. There's lots of methods out there. I'm very fond of the grid method, but it just takes a bit longer. Right, for part B then. Factorise fully, so we've got a 3x as a common factor. And then we need times 3x by 3x to get 9x squared, plus 2 to get 6x. New phone costs £679. The value of the phone decreases at a rate of 4% per year. Work out the phone at the end of the 3 years. So I'm going to say that a 4% decrease is going to be equal to a multiplier of 0.96, because we want to find 96% of the original price each year. And to do this, I take the original value, I times by the multiplier to the power of the number of years. So 97679 times by 0.96 cubed gives us a value of 600.735744. So I'm going to say the price is going to be £674. That's £600.74. Question 24. Table says information about the height of 80 plants. Find the class interval containing the median. So if we've got 80 plants, technically the median would be found by finding the position of the 80 plus 1 divided by 2. So we're looking for the 40.5. So we need to find where the 40th and the 41st value appear. So if we keep a running total of this, then we've got 20 that are 30 or less. We've got 34 that are 40 or less, which means that we've got 46 that are 50 or less. So the median, the 40th and the 41st, both must be in that group. On the grid, draw the frequency polygon for the information in this table. So frequency polygon, we plot the midpoints. So let me just zoom out slightly. Okay, so at 15, I want to plot 7. So 15, I want to plot 7. At 35, I want to plot 14. And I don't think I'll put my 7 in quite the right place. The graph's going up in ones, so that's more like the position. So 25, I want to plot 13. At 35, I want to plot 14. At 45, I want to plot 12. At 55, I want to plot 16. And at 65, I want to plot 18. And then we join them up with the straight lines. Mine aren't going to be overly straight. You should use a ruler though. Question 25. The diagram shows a regular pentagon and a parallelogram. Work out the size of the angle marked with the X. You must show all your work in, so we don't need to give reasons, but I'm going to start by working out that angle there. I'll call it Y for now. So Y is going to be equal to 360 divided by the number of sides, so divided by 5, which will be 72. So that angle there would be 72. I'm going to call this angle here Z, and I'm going to say that Z is going to be equal to 180 minus 117, which is going to be 63. Right, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to say that 180 plus is going to be equal to X plus Y plus Z, because they're angles on a straight line. So X is going to be equal to 180 minus 72 plus 63. So 180 minus 72 plus 63. Double check that I'm happy with what I've written. So 45 degrees. (26) ABC is a right angle triangle. Work out the size of the angle. So we've got two sides and an angle, that automatically tells us we're using trig. We label the two sides that we're working with in the question, the hypotenuse and the adjacent, which means that we're using the cos ratio. So I would say that the missing angle is going to be equal to cos to the minus 1 of the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. Double check my calculator's in degree mode. So 50.4788 ... no rounding to one decimal place, 50.5. Part B, the length AB is reduced by 1 centimeter. So let's AB, so this is going to become shorter. Is the length of side BC is still 7 degrees. The angle is still 90 degrees. The angle is still 90 degrees. Okay. Will the value of cos ABC increase or decrease? Well, we've got to kind of imagine what that means is that length has decreased, so the angle will decrease. Angle will decrease as the length AC will also need to decrease. So that's what would happen to the angle. That's what would happen to the angle. Just realized it doesn't actually ask about the angle. It asks about cos of the angle. If we think about, so the best way to explain this, the cos graph looks like that. So currently the angle is 50.5. So let's just say 50.5 is in here. So actually, if the angle decreases, the value of cos of the angle will increase. So the angle will decrease as the length AC will also need to decrease. So cos of the angle, cos ABC, will increase. Right, question 26. Here is a list of numbers. From the list, write down all the numbers that are powers of 3. So powers of 3. Powers of 3. So if we think about 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So it's just going to be 9 and 27. Question 28. In London, 1 litre of petrol costs 108.9 pence. In the US, 1 US gallon of petrol costs $2.83. 1 US gallon is equal to 3.75 litres. £1 is equal to $1.45. In which city is petrol better value, London or New York? So let's start with London. So we've got litres. So let's just write about that. 1 litre is equal to, I'm going to convert that into pounds. So £1 and 0.98 pence. And then in New York, we've got 1 gallon is equal to $2.83. Right, so I'm going to convert that into litres, so that I'm going to say that so 3.785 litres is equal to, and I'm also going to convert this into pounds right now. So to do that, I would need to divide by 1.46. So that gives us 2.83 divided by 1.46. That gives us 1.19335 ... So 1 litre in the US will cost us, I need to divide that by 3.785. .512 ... pounds. So New York is a lot cheaper. So now we've got price of litres in pounds, litres in pounds. So New York is cheaper. We'll even go as £1.09 is less than 0.51. Okay, solve the simultaneous equations. So I'm not going to overly mess around with these. I don't need to manipulate them because we've got the same x value, but I've got more x's. So I'm going to do equation 1 minus equation 2. So 3x, take away 3x is 0. Y minus 4y is 5y. And then minus 4 minus 6 is minus 10. So y is equal to minus 2. I'm going to substitute my value of y into one of my initial equations. We'll go equation. Doesn't really matter, but I'm going to go equation 2. So 3x minus 4 times minus 2 is plus 8 is equal to 6. So 3x is equal to minus 2. So x is equal to minus 2/3. Check. So 3 times by minus 2 minus 2/3 can't be equal to minus. Oh, I've got that the wrong way around. Try that again. 3 times by minus 2/3 minus 2 is minus 2 minus 2 is equal to minus 4, so that is right, even though those numbers are nasty. So x is equal to minus 2/3 and y is equal to minus 2. Question 30. Here are 6 graphs. Write down the letters which the graph could have the equation y is equal to x cubed. So we're looking for a wave. So that is going to be actually graph F. So these are both positive waves. However, this would have more to it than just x cubed. 1 over x is a reciprocal graph. The positive reciprocal graphs, that would be graph D. Okay. Question 31. A festival will be a rectangular field of area 80,000 meters cubed. The greatest number of people allowed at Festival A is 425. Festival B will be a rectangular field 700 by 2,000 meters. The greatest number of people allowed to attend Festival B is 6,750. The area per person allowed at Festival B is greater than the area allowed at Festival A. How much greater? So we need to work out the area per person for both of them. So if we start with Festival A, that would be 80,000. The area divided by the number of people divided by 425 equals, and I'm going to come back to that. For Festival B, we haven't actually got the area, we've got the dimensions. So 700 times by 2,000 divided by the number of people, 6,750. So we're going to go 80,000, 1, 2, 3, divided by 425. So we've got an area per person of 3,200 over 17. Not going to decimalize it. For the other one, I've got 700 times by 2,000 divided by 6,750. So we've got an area of 5,600 over 27. So how much greater? We're going to have to do at Festival B. So Festival B minus Festival A. So we want to do this value minus 3,200 over 17 gives us 8,800 over 459. So to the nearest whole number, that's 19.172 ... so 19. 300 centimeters squared is the same as 3 meters squared because there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So you divide by 100. Cohen's method is wrong. Explain why. Well, 1 meter squared is equal to 1 meter times 1 meter, which is equal to 100 centimeters times 100 centimeters. So 1 meter cubed is equal to 10,000 centimeters squared. Question 32, we've got a trapezium. Find the size of CDA. CDA, so we want this angle here. Okay, right, so we need to cut and find this right angle triangle to help us work out this angle. I'll call it X for now, but we need to work out, we know that this is 6, but we don't know what this length here is, so I'll call it Y for now. And we need to work out that length. To do that, it's going to be 24 take away 10, take away this distance here. So if I call that distance Z for now, I'm going to start by working out Z, 3 sides, so Pythag. So Z squared is going to be equal to 7.5 squared minus 6 squared, which is going to be equal to 7.5 squared minus 6 squared. It's going to give me 81 over 4, which is nice because they're both square numbers. So when I square root it, Z is going to be equal to 9 over 4, which is 2 1/4. So just show that that's true. Square root answer 9 over 2, which is decimal 4.5. Yeah, square root my bottom 4.5. Right, so this distance here is 14.5. So y is going to be equal to 24 minus 10 minus 4.5. That would be equal to 9.5. So based on that, if we call this is the opposite and this is the adjacent, so we're using the tan ratio. So TOA. So the angle X is going to be equal to tan to the minus 1 of the opposite 6 over 9.5. So shift tan as a fraction 6 over 9.5 close bracket equals 32.2756 ... So to one decimal place, that's going to be 32.3. Okay, question 33. Karina has 4 tanks on her tractor. Each tank has a cylinder with a diameter of 8 centimeters and a height of 160 centimeters. And we've got a diagram. The 4 tanks are to be completely filled with a mixture of fertilizer and water. Fertilizer has to be mixed with water in the ratio of 1 to 100 by volume. Karina has 32 litres of fertilizer. 1 litre is 1,000 centimetres cubed. Has Karina enough fertilizer for her to fill the 4 tanks? Okay, so I'm going to kind of do this in 2 stages. First of all, I'm going to work out how much volume she needs. So we need 4 cylinders. So the total volume is going to be 4 times by the formula for the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared, which would be the area of the face, times by the height. So we're looking at pi, times by the radius, which would be 40 squared, times by 160. So 4 times by shift pi times by 40 squared times by 160. So she's got a total volume of 3216990.877. So we're looking at 3,216,990.877 centimeters cubed. That's what she needs to fill. Right, and then if we look at how much she has. So if we're going in a ratio by volume of, let me get this the right way around, fertilizer to water in a ratio of 1 to 100, and she has got 32 litres of fertilizer, well, that's going to be 3,200 litres of water, and we've got 1 litre, let's actually combine them, so she's got a total of 3,232 litres. That's the 2 ratio parts added together. So that means she has got this times by 1,000. So she's got 3,232,000 centimeters cubed. So she needs. So she has got enough. So does she have enough? Yes. As 3,216,990.877 is actually centimeters cubed, is less than 3,232,000 centimeters cubed. So I always try to finish my question off by stating yes or no, and then having the 2 figures that I'm comparing, because I know that from experience as a marker, that's really what we're looking for. Yes, with the correct figures. So putting them in the same line is very helpful. Okay, question 34. So the formatting on this has gone. Let's just clear it up slightly. Right. In a sale, the normal price of a boat is reduced by 15%. The sale price of the boat is £272,000. Work out the normal price of the boat. So if it's been reduced by 15%, it means that of its original value, it is 85% of the original value. So keeping it nice and simple, I'm going to say that would be equal to a multiplier of 0.85. So the original price times by 0.85 is equal to this. So if we divide this by 0.85, that will give us the original price. So 272,000 divided by 0.85 gives us an original price of 320,000. So the original price of the boat was £320,000. Right. Question 35. We've got not quite sure where this 29's come from. A, B, C, D are points on the circle such that we have a square. The square has sides of length 3.5 centimeters. Calculate the circumference of the circle. Okay, so we're going to start by working out the diagonal using Pythagoras. So that's going to be the hypotenuse. So if I call that x for now, which will also be the diameter of the circle, but we'll say x squared is equal to 3.5 squared plus 3.5 squared, or 2 times 3.5 squared. That would work as well. So we'll do 3.5 squared times by 2 gives us 49 over 2. So the square root of that, and I'm going to leave it as square root of my answer would be 7 root 2 over 2. And I am going to leave it like that. Can obviously go decimal, but I don't particularly want to. So that would be the diameter of the circle. So the circumference of the circle is going to be equal to pi times diameter. So pi times x. So that's going to be equal to, if I just times this answer by pi, 15.55009 ... So I'm going to go for 15.6 to one decimal place, 15.6. Okay, before I sign off, I said at the start of the video about how I used Edexcel in enhanced skills mapping grid to come up with this. So literally I selected these from these questions from I think we're looking at thousands of questions to create this paper. What I really like about this is this grid here. So what it does is, obviously I arranged it by mean difficulty, but it actually gives us a percentage of scores of candidates who achieved grades. So it kind of works it out and says what students scored on these that got grades. So it kind of gives you a rough indication of grade boundaries for this paper, which is quite useful. It says roughly we needed 15 marks for grade 1, 24 marks for a 2, 32 for a 3, 42 for a 4, and 56 marks for a and 57 marks for a grade 5, which can be quite useful if you've been keeping track of your score. It's an indicator. I wouldn't take it as stone, but I think it's quite a nice indicator. Okay, and so again, that was the good chance paper. So please do check out the highly likely or very likely paper as well, in addition to this. I hope you found that useful. I really hope it's given you a clear path in terms of your revision. And again, once again, thanks to First Class Maths for their excellent exam analysis that produced the topics behind this. Good luck with your exam as it comes up. If you've got any comments, questions or feedback, feel free to type it into the chat for this or into the comments for this video. And if you found it useful, please do subscribe if you like.